Yo, what's going on, guys? I just wanted to talk a little bit about NVDA here. NVIDIA has been the leading tech company in the market for the past year or so, hitting all-time highs multiple times. It's been the main company I've been trading and watching over the year or so, and I kind of want to show you guys what's been happening with it, showing you kind of what the future could be, kind of giving you guys some ideas, and just kind of, just educating you guys about the market. So follow along with me here. It'll be a little short one. So these white diagonal lines that we have going up and right here, these lines are called your trend lines. Basically meaning that NVIDIA has been trending within these lines, and that's been taking place since August. So I mean, these trend lines have basically been intact since the second half of the year last year. Think of this upper one, this upper trend line, as your ceiling, which we also call in the market as resistance. What does that mean? Resistance in the ceiling. You go up, you hit the ceiling, can't go any higher, so you got to come down. And then this bottom one, we call that support, which you can think of as your floor. Go down, you hit the floor, can't go any lower, you got to go up after that. So as we can see, back in August, we started our support, went up, tested our resistance, our ceiling, bounced down, came down, tested our support again, and then we kind of did that multiple times. Right here, tested support, or resistance, tested resistance, tested resistance, tested support. So these are kind of key levels you can use to just kind of gauge the price action of any stock. This isn't just for NVIDIA. You could do this with any stock. And typically with the stock, you want to buy low, sell high. So you buy down by this trend line and wait for it to go closer to the upper one, and you'll probably make money. Like, it's that simple. But kind of just show you guys a little bit more confluences and confirmation to show you how you can be more confident in your trades. We had a head and shoulders forming, actually, an inverse head and shoulders. So back in December 17th, I actually posted my NVIDIA chart and said that I thought the price of NVIDIA was going to go to 150. And basically the main reason was that I saw this inverse head and shoulders forming, and yeah, so let me just kind of walk you guys through what that is. A head and shoulders in trading is basically what it sounds like. So you have a shoulder, you have a head, and you have another shoulder. So you basically have your shoulder here, the price goes higher, and then it comes back down to this neckline, and then price comes back to the neckline. So an inverse head and shoulder is literally just the opposite. You just flip it. So here we have price comes down, we have our shoulder, neckline, price makes a lower low, come back up, neckline, shoulder, and then price comes back up. So these little arrows, these are your arms basically. Think of these as your arms. So your arms are where you're going to make money. The price on the arms moving up or down is where you're going to bank. So essentially, I mean, it's super simple. I took calls, which calls are basically you're betting that the price of the market or the stock is going to go up. And then as opposed to puts, which is you think the price of the market is going to go down. So I took calls pretty much at the bottom of this trend line in this buy call zone that I had. And basically where you get these zones these are just like common support and resistance zones. So as you can see, the price bounces here, we bounce here, bounce here. So you kind of just look for zones that line up with old prices, and you just mark those levels and just see what the price does around it. So I knew that this was a pretty key spot here where I wanted to buy calls, and it lined up with my bottom trend line, and it lined up with this orange line or reddish line, which is going to be your 100-day moving average. Now all these little color lines, these are your moving averages, which are basically another confluence or indicator that can give you more confidence in your trades. So the fact that we had the 100 EMA, the trend line, and this head and shoulders all lining up at the same spot, that to me was just the ultra bullish sign. So I took calls here kind of around 127. We had a low of 126.86 that day. And as you can see, the head and shoulders played out perfectly. We came up, came back down, and then just absolutely rip-faced to 153.13. So that's basically like a $20 change from when you could have got calls down here, which is just an absolute insane play. So yeah, I mean, the big thing with the market is you want to, oops, sorry guys, switch to Netflix on accident. The big thing with the market is you want to look for multiple indicators and confluences to support your thesis and your trade. So for me, I had the 100, I had the head and shoulders, and I had the trend lines, flash support. So yeah, I mean the play played out perfectly. So if you saw me talking about NVDA in December and you decided to get it, you would have absolutely banked. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, I had this upper trim, let it ride. That basically was just, once it got to this level, which is kind of where we were bouncing last time of 152, I knew I wanted to have most of my positions sold off because at that price it probably was going to reject and go lower. And I mean that played out literally perfectly. As you can see, we had the nastiest red candle that day, and that was the whole market. I can show you. What day was that? That was December 7th. So we go over to SPY, which is an ETF. It basically tracks 100 of the biggest companies in the market. And yeah, I mean, look at the stick on that. We were down 1.5% almost. So whole market was down that day. And yeah, so the main reason I'm kind of showing you guys this now is, like, as you can see, there's multiple things showing that the price is going to go up. And I kind of think I see that again. I mean, we're back at the bottom of the trend line. We actually broke through it for the first time since August, but we popped back above it, and now we're back close below it again. So I think what's happening here is NVIDIA had that conference on the 6th, like I told you guys. We had a massive rip up. Obviously, people are taking profits. I mean, if you saw this forming, which most good traders saw all this, you probably took calls and you would have been up a crazy amount. So most people are taking profits selling, which makes sense. That's why we see this big sell-off. And if you look at other indicators, this is RSI. This shows us if we're oversold, overbought. We were massively oversold. I mean, look how high RSI was, up to 65. And yeah, on the day that we had the dump, I mean, it came all the way down. I mean, that's a massive drop in RSI. So we were extremely overbought. So it needed a sell-off. And it wanted to go test that bottom support again. And like I said, these are magnets. Price wants to pull to these trend lines, these supports, these resistance. So I think here we are getting a little bit of a sell-off in anticipation of earnings at the end of the month. Basically, earnings are when a company, they do them 4 times a year. They basically say what their revenue was, what their expected was, and I mean, if a company does well on their earnings, then typically the stock will boom up a decent amount, and if they do bad, it will typically dump a lot. So that's at the end of the month this month, and I think what's happening here is people are, not even people, but big hedge funds and the big market makers, so to speak, they wanted to pull price back down here, I think, just to shake out some of the bears. Bears being people who are thinking the price is going to go down. So I think what we really are going to see here is a test of the December lows, which I have at 126.86, which is right inside our little buy zone again. And if that happens, I think we dip, and I think we're going to rip again back up, with earnings being the catalyst that sends us back up. So I mean, there might be that earnings aren't till the end of January, so there's going to be days in between now and then, and there's no guaranteeing upside or downside. But again, if you buy low, sell high, you're going to be straight most of the time. Hopefully a lot of that made sense to you guys. If not, feel free to just DM me or hit me up with any questions. The more people that get into this, the better it is. You have more people talking, bouncing ideas, and would love to get, more people interested and give people a little outlet to making more money, because, financial freedom in this economy is everything. So yeah, hit me up, and if you stayed this long to watch the video, you might as well just follow me. And I'm posting daily on my Twitter, posting trade ideas, updates about the market. So feel free to give me a follow and ask me any questions. Thanks, everyone.